Welcome to On the Move.
I think that Mr. Worley's intent is important for a couple different reasons. One, the statute that he's charged under actually does have an intent to intimidate prong to.
Is the city pursuing that?
No, he wasn't threatening her anyway, so we're going with the carry display and exhibited, and it's going to be the warrant alarm for the safety of others. And we reflected that in the jury instructions as well.
So, and while I appreciate that, the statute and the portion that the city is moving forward on talks about the manner in which he carries. His intent is going to directly influence the manner in which he carries. And the purpose, I think the jury needs to understand, if he testifies, needs to understand from Mr. Worley why he was out there, why he was carrying a gun that day. We really shouldn't litigate this case in a vacuum. I think that his purpose in being out there that day will be directly related to and affect the manner in which he's carrying, and so I think it is important for the jury to hear that, so we would object to that.
City's position?
Well, I guess we don't object to testimony regarding, I mean, it's going to come out, it's on the video that he was trying to exercise his Second Amendment right in open carry. But I don't think there should be any testimony elicited whether or not, did you intend to cause alarm in front? Was that your intention? And obviously I think argument is why we argue. But I do think that it's not relevant in this case. The Spencer Court, which is the leading court case so far on the analysis of an unlawful display, it makes it pretty clear that it's an objective standard, and two, that it's a reasonable person standard, and that reasonable person is not through the eyes of the defendant, but under the circumstances that the viewing public essentially witnesses. So I don't think any testimony, I think it's really just likely its relevance is minimal, and it's going to just potentially just confuse the jury that, hey, it wasn't his intent to do that. This isn't a theft crime or anything where there is an intent requirement or an element. Again, it's not an element, it's not a defense, so we would just ask that any testimony regarding that be limited. And again, to clarify, we understand that that's going to come out in the video, so whatever's on the video we understand will come out that he was carrying it, and they're going to hear him speak about it.
So the city's correct to the extent that his intent to warrant alarm is not relevant to whether or not alarm is warranted. And I don't have a problem with him not being allowed to say, I never intended to warrant alarm. But what my concern is that somehow this ruling gets limited, that he can't fully explain the reasons why he was there. It's one thing to say he's a Second Amendment rights activist, but I think that those words in and of themselves create a certain assumption about who a human being is. And what I can tell you is that when you have a chance to sit down and have 5 minutes with Mr. Worley, that is not who he is. He's extremely intelligent. He's extremely well-read. He's not some crazy Second Amendment activist that I think gets lumped into that phrase. So it's not enough just to allow him to say I was there to exercise my Second Amendment rights. I want to be able to elicit from him what he believes about his Second Amendment rights and how his being there was driven by his beliefs and what the purpose was. I don't mind him not saying, I never intended to warrant alarm. But I don't want to be limited in him to explain himself about what he was doing.
I think he kind of says that on the video.
Yeah, he does.
Quite a few times, and I'm assuming are the parties agreeing that the video comes in? And
Yes, we haven't agreed
to how much of the video, but yeah, I think.
Parts may not be relevant, but I want him to be able to explain those statements.
And I guess the city's position is, again, it's on the video, so we're not going to try to pause the audio when he's saying I'm exercising my Second Amendment, and if they want to go down that a little bit. Also, we're not going to label him a radical or anything like that. I mean, that's not what we're here for, and that's not why we're here today. But in State v. Byrd, they do make it kind of clear that the unlawful display statute recognizes that the display of a weapon without any required intent could be done in a manner to cause a reasonable apprehension, fear, or alarm. So I just think asking him the question, did you intend to cause warrant, or treading around that kind of question is what we're asking to be excluded.
yeah, I would exclude that. He's free, however, to talk. I mean, the tape sounds like that'll come in through the video, but and he can certainly describe the manner in which he was carrying the weapon, you know, the not touching it and all of that stuff.
So am I not going to be able to elicit from him the purpose of his presence there that evening?
I think it's.
Well, that's different than the intent. I wasn't carrying it with the intent to warrant the alarm of anyone.
And I've got no problem staying away from that.
Yeah, but what you're saying is his intent was not only exercise his right, but for education or to
Right.
make people comfortable with being around
Right.
with firearms. That's
Right.
the intent you're talking about.
Correct.
And that's on the video, so we don't have an issue with
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
It's
So
already-
what I assumed is that you were getting into no, it was not my intent to warrant the alarm for any safety.
No, I don't need to ask him that question.
Okay.
I don't need to ask him.
I'll be detained right now, officer.
Let me see your ID.
No, thank you.
What's that?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, why are you saying no, thank you?
I know it's my Fourth Amendment right. I don't have to show you my identification.
And one of these books that I want to discuss is this book right here. It's called Founding Brothers. It's written by Joseph J. Ellis, and I really found this book to be really informative. It helped me out a great deal in understanding the founding of this. Really comfortable too. That's one thing I really like about this bag is the comfort level of it. But anyway, so let me move on here and we'll start showing the back here, show the features. First thing first here, we got the front of it.